I wish and pray that almost everyone is working these days with many different organizations. And I also pray that you get a chance to work with certainly some of the cloud technologies, or maybe you are in the process of migrating your on-premises data to the cloud. And while doing these all processes, I'm sure that you are very well aware that you might encounter these situations like you must have one test environment, you must have one dev environment, and the third one is obviously the production one, the villain of the IT structure. Why I call it villain? Because there is no chance you made some mistakes in the production, and that is gonna be a disaster for you, for your IT management, as well as sometime to the organizations too. So that is why in Microsoft Azure, we have a strategy, or we call it desired state configuration, which I will explain later in this video. But why I want to bring this question in your mind, although it is not exactly a part of any of the module in AZ-900 or in fact in AZ-104, but the purpose here is to give you some background that in any case you made some mistakes. Don't worry, I'll talk about that, what kind of mistake you can make possibly in Microsoft Azure. So what are the steps you can take to recover from those kind of circumstances? But believe me one thing, when I was with the Microsoft, I personally received not because I don't want to exaggerate, but indeed 50 or even more than 50 calls in my 1 year of career, especially I remember my last one with Microsoft. The people from, especially from the US, when they are having these PowerShell commands and they are working in these environment, and sometimes they made mistakes, and instead of applying those commands to dev or test environment, they directly or accidentally or mistakenly use those commands in the production environment, and suddenly all of their resources is just poof, gone. And now they feel a lot of tension because they're working during the night hours, and they say, hey Harsh, please help me out. You are in the disaster and recovery team from Microsoft Azure. You must have a backup, and I'm sure that you are able to help us to recover all of those items. And my answers always was like, did you take a backup or not? and these folks said, no Harsh, we did not take backup of these items. Then I said, there's no chance Microsoft Azure could help you from the backend to recover all of these resources. So that is the whole purpose of making these videos, guys. Azure Resource Management, or in other sense you called Azure Resource Baseline. The Azure Resource Baseline is so important for any of the organization, and the overall purpose is in case you lose any of the data, and in what situations you could lose. It's most likely the accidental operations being done by maybe the junior administrator, maybe the infrastructure admin, maybe the application admin, or could be any possibility right there. So in that situations, what are the baseline, what are the key points you need to remember or you need to perform while managing your infrastructure in Microsoft Azure, so that you can use those strategies, techniques to recover your data whenever you want in the future, or in these different accidental circumstances. Apart from that, I would like to also touch base a couple of more topics, like in the Azure Resource Baseline, Microsoft Azure does also provide us some kind of automation process. Means if you are running, for example, 100 virtual machines or 100 instances in virtual machine scale set, then definitely you want to shut down them after perform some actions on those VMs. So you don't need to remember, or you don't need to perform anything manually to go to these VMs and manually shut down all the VMs one by one. It took a lot of time. So what you can do using automation process, don't worry, I will discuss in this video. You can simply follow those actions, and Microsoft Azure will take those instructions based on the automation process, or you can say the options we have in Microsoft Azure, and you can achieve the desired goal you want. Don't worry, I will explain in details that how you can do that. And the third one, which we are going to cover in this video, although this is a separate topic, but yeah, it is a part of the baseline, so you can you can be notified if anyone does these mistakes. So at least as an administrator, as an the owner of this Microsoft account, you must be aware who did this, and you must receive an alert, maybe on your Twitter account, maybe on your emails, maybe via an SMS, or maybe a phone call. Could be any possibility. Don't worry, we'll discuss about these Microsoft Azure Alerts. The overall purpose is pretty simple and straight, that if anything goes wrong or any activity has been done on any of the resource in Microsoft Azure, how you can get notified from Microsoft Azure. Again, it's a part of the automation, but it's really a brilliant idea to set up your alerts. And believe me, if you are working in any of these organizations, especially the people who is working on the cloud, almost everyone has set up their alerts in Microsoft Azure, and it is going to be a fun when you perform this practical in this particular video. And you will learn step-by-step instructions, what options do we have, how you're going to use it. And obviously I'm not going to say we are going to touch base each and every options available in Azure Alerts, but indeed, based on your experience, maybe you are a programmer, maybe you are good in PowerShell script, you can use all of these options to enable your alert system in Microsoft Azure on any of the resources running right there in your environment. And the last topic which I like to cover in this video is resource metrics. Guys, resource metrics is something like, gives you the detailed overview what just happened or what exactly happened a particular time span or particular time frame in the past. For example, if someone say, somebody is using my express route, or somebody is using my server so much, and you really like to know, really, what was the time? And somebody say, well, I don't know, but it is approximate at 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. during the night. Then you just go to the resource metrics. You can check the CPU utilization, you can check network bandwidth, you can check network bandwidth in and out. There are tons of options available in metrics, and you can just review them, and based on your analysis, you can submit your results to the certain team or certain management people that can really help you out to justify why it happened in Microsoft Azure, and with certainly lots of details. So hello guys, my name is HarshArena, and in this whole video, we will learn what is desired state configuration and what is all about Azure Resource Management, in which we will cover 4 different topics. Baseline, manual process, obviously one option. Second, automation. What are the options by default available in Microsoft Azure that you can use to perform the automation process. The third is Microsoft Azure Alerts, which can helps you and gives you all the power to get notified if certainly going any activity on any of the resource in your Microsoft Azure. And the last one, if you would like to see what exactly happened during that particular time frame or what's going on, and if you like to test something that, okay, is it really consuming my resources or not, and what kind of resources is completely depends on you. That's how you can use your resource metrics in Microsoft Azure. It is really helpful, and I believe that in our previous videos we have touched base those topics. And don't worry, we will discuss all these topics one by one in detail. And in fact, right here you can see a picture. I will also explain that what this is all about and what you will learn in this video with step-by-step instructions. So guys, let's go ahead and learn more. Azure Resource Baseline is not just going to help us during the disaster situation, but indeed it is a kind of a best practices that what steps you can take to avoid those situations. Because definitely, like if you are performing some action in the production environment, and imagine if anything goes wrong during the deployment, or consider that you accidentally deleted a virtual machine or maybe a virtual network. I mean, that can cause a lot of trouble while connecting your virtual machine or even getting resources by your teammates or your whole organization. So these are the possibilities when you are managing your resources in Microsoft Azure. This thing could happen, and I mean, I'm sure that you really don't want to hit those kind of problems, especially in your production environment. So that is why whenever we talk about the Azure Resource Baseline, there are a couple of things you need to keep in your mind, that when you are performing any action in Microsoft Azure, let's say you really like to build a virtual machine, and the very first step is create a virtual machine. But before that, you need to create a resource group, right? That is a kind of a virtual container where you are going to add all of your resources. It doesn't matter, it's a virtual machine, it's a virtual network, maybe your IP address, maybe your public IP address. I mean, all sort of thing you can add information, or disks. I mean, all these things you can find under one place. That is called your resource group. And obviously, as a part of individual resources, for example, your virtual network is an individual resource, your public IP address is an individual resources, your virtual machine, your disks, all of these are considered as a resource. So you need to definitely keep in your mind that what kind of resources you are deploying in an resource group, because once you add all of these resources under one resource group, and accidentally if you deleted your resource group, the entire things inside that resource group it's gone, and it's very hard to recover. You can recover individual your virtual machine from the backup, because that is one of the solution or disaster recovery solution provided by Microsoft Azure. But I am talking about entire resource group. So guys, for that, you need to first understand the resource management. For that, today we are going to touch base one of the option in automation called ARM templates. Though we have touched base in our earlier videos as well, but today we'll talk about a little bit in details, and I will also show you that what are the best practices for desired state configuration, because I'm going to give you one example. You need to follow that example, and after that your questions, your mindset will be very clear that why you are learning all of these things in this video. And after that, obviously, that's another individual resource. Whenever we talk about individual resource, we also have one option called deployment. Don't worry, I'll show you what is all about resource deployment and how it is individually could help you to recover your the state or your configuration state in Microsoft Azure. And obviously the automation part, it always comes with the ARM templates, and I personally like this option. The reason why is because when you deploy your three-tiered configuration, or maybe what is three-tier, let me explain. All right, I mean, before to move forward, let's jump to the next slide where I could explain all of these things to you. So guys, like I mentioned, and I'm pretty sure you are very much confident enough now that why you are learning Azure Resource Baseline with me, because the whole step, the purpose of to know about the baseline is how you're going to avoid those disaster situations. I want to repeat one last time. Yes, there's one option for individual virtual machines is to take backup, and you are able to recover exactly the state of the backup you took during that particular of time. But I'm here talking about the whole resource group, because if the resource group gone, it doesn't matter you have 1,000 VMs, you have 10,000 VM inside that single resource group. Ah, man, I mean, you just imagine how much time it will take you to recover everything. Or in fact, if you have an ARM template which you have already taken a backup or you have saved in your library, don't worry, I will show you where this library is all in Microsoft Azure, then you can simply go to that library, choose your ARM template and select redeploy. Everything is gonna be back at the same stage where you left. But remember, you have to keep updating these ARM templates all the time, and that's why people are following these practices, these best practices all the days, because whenever the major changes comes into the operating system, or in fact in the resource group, they always take a kind of a backup, or you can say save separately the configuration of that desired state into the library in Microsoft Azure. And what is this library is all about? They call it templates. I'll show you, and let me also explain why you need to do that. What is the purpose of this one? So guys, the ARM template is all about the concept of the automation in Microsoft Azure. That's exactly we are going to discuss a little bit more in Azure Automation in our next part. But right now, ARM template is also a part of the automation. So whenever you prepare your resource group, you need to simply go to export template, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then once you select that, it will give you the option to save or download your template offline to your machine. That is one of the options. Obviously, you can do that. And for the programmer folks, you can also copy the PowerShell command that for whatever the resource has been created inside that resource group, you can simply download all those information and save at particular place. Let's say or imagine the worst condition that your things are gone from your Microsoft Azure. You can simply use this template, import that template, all the configuration, all the changes you have been made in that particular ARM template is gonna recovered immediately after you perform redeployment. Yes, there are few things you need to keep in your mind while performing ARM template redeployment, but don't worry, this is the whole purpose of Azure Resource Baseline. Yeah, in other words, I can say like Azure Baseline is not just a kind of a standard you have to follow. It's a best practices from lots of experienced IT administrator or security professionals to avoid worst situations in the organization, especially in terms of your resources deployment. So guys, there are a couple of things I have mentioned here. That the very first is deployment. Yes, if you talk about an individual resource, which I'm going to show you in a practical, you can also export the template of that particular single resource as well. Because sometimes we believe that one resource is so critical to us, if we lose that one, we really don't want to take chances. So we just simply take the backup or save as an ARM template, and then whenever we want to met any accidental situation, we simply want to use it and things are gonna be back at the exactly same stage. But remember, I want to highlight this point again and again, that remember, if you take a backup, let's say today, or I mean not just a backup, I mean you download your ARM template or you save your template today, and what's the date today? I don't know. Or maybe 1st of July or maybe 2nd of July 2022, and after 10 days you made some changes and you forgot to update your ARM template. So guys, you are not able to recover exactly the same last stage. You have to save another ARM template with that particular change. I'll give you one example which can help you actually. Let's say this is the situation, and here I have a 3-tier configuration. I have one server. This is S1. I have server 2. Sorry. I'm just like making a SIM card, so don't mind guys. It's just a normal night hours. And yeah, I don't drink, I don't smoke, so I don't have that, macho chances as well to enjoy my life. I just have my water with me, and in the night, I think you can imagine water doesn't work sometimes. So yeah, anyway, leave that part and come back. So we have 3 servers and now what happened, that this is a 3-tier configuration you have done, front end, back end, or whatever, like storage you have. So you have saved those information and you actually prepare an ARM template to save this desired state configuration. Don't forget this line, desired state configuration, because this is exactly you want after you deploy everything in the resource group or in terms of one of the infrastructure you are building for your organization. Now you save as ARM1. Now imagine if your organization said after 1 month or maybe 10 days, all right guys, please add S4 as well here. So you prepared S4 you connect via virtual network and everything is ready, right? But you forgot to update or take a backup of your, the deployment. So what happened in case if anything goes wrong? You can use ARM1, there's no question, but is able to only recover, remember that, only recover this part. Only S1, S2, S3 and your storage. It is not going to recover your S4. Remember that carefully. So that is the reason you have to keep updating your ARM template for your desired state configuration. I think you get my point, right? And that is why I write down here, after the deployment, you have to keep in your mind, you have to keep updating your ARM templates all the time. And you can, there are two options like I mentioned. One, you can download these ARM templates on your local server or local storage, wherever you want to save, it's up to you. Otherwise, you can also directly save these templates directly to the Azure as well. So we call it ARM template libraries. So if anything goes wrong, you can simply go to these libraries and get your ARM template back, click on redeploy, and things are ready for you. But again, while redeploy your ARM templates, you have to be careful about resource IDs. You have to be careful about your DNS names, because if it already exists in your Azure, that redeployment will not succeed and the validation is gonna be failed. I'll do one thing. Let me show you something which can help you to clarify all these things which I just explained in this picture and in Azure Resource Baseline. Let's jump to the Azure portal. Excited? I am so much excited. After 4 months, I start making these videos and I can't tell you how much happy I am at the moment. Yeah, there was some family situations and a couple of other hassles. I finally get over all those things, though. I have one request to all of you who is watching this video. Guys, if you are living in US and Canada, please help me out. I really want to settle down there, and I'm trying so hard from my side. I'm keep pushing myself and try to contact lots of people. So yeah, it's a kind of a request from my video. I'm trying to help you guys. Please help me as well. And I'm not in the mood to spend a lot of money. Please don't mind though, because I don't have money. So but yes, I do have knowledge, and I'm more than happy to receive help from all of you. If you are there and you can help me, don't even hesitate to contact me. All right, anyway, let's come back and let's start with the Microsoft Azure baseline part. And guys, in Microsoft Azure, like I said, the backup disaster recovery option is one of the way. Definitely we are going to cover that in the separate video series, not in AZ-104. Yes, there is a very small topic is there, that how you're going to perform the disaster recovery situation, and especially in terms of troubleshooting those virtual machine. So I just want to tell you one quickest way that how you can take a backup, but there's a procedure you need to follow. I just want to tell you that first, it's not a part of the baseline, but you must aware about this option. Yes, one thing also you like to know, and obviously you must be aware that this option is not gonna be applicable on resource groups. You can take backup of the virtual machines only from this feature at the moment. Yes, there are a couple of other things you can take backup, like SAP database and SAP VMs, SQL VMs. That's totally a different story. But here I just like to show you where is this option. So simply, guys, if you go to any of the virtual machine you are running in your environment, what you need to do, you need to find out where is that disaster recovery option. It's right under operations. So as soon as you click on disaster recovery, the very first step is, definitely we do not have at the moment, you need to create a recovery services vault, and then you can perform the next option called disaster recovery. This is the part of I can say the Azure Site Recovery, which is really a very good option. And yes, don't forget to start your VMs, because that's another important thing you need to do. You need to start your virtual machine and then perform the next action. But I just want to tell you this here, the option is you can simply go here and follow the steps, because the very first step is to create the recovery services vault and then add this virtual machine for a backup. Also, you can configure Azure Site Recovery. That's another thing. But yeah, this is just for your knowledge, because disaster recovery is for Azure Site Recovery and backup, which is right here, is for just the backup. And like I said, for both of these options, you need to create a site recovery. Yes, at the moment, we are not interested in this. So let's go back and let's go to the resource group. Yeah, I almost forgot that. Okay, so guys, in the resource groups, let's click on resource group, and you can see that I have only one dedicated resource group which I have been created recently. Click on HA at the moment. You can create by your own. That's pretty simple and straight. And here you can find like it's a virtual network, then virtual machine, public IP address, network security group been created, regular network interface. I mean, this is all related to one particular VM, and also there's a disk. Similarly, here you can find out virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3, and associated all of these resources. Now guys, the best practice is once you perform or whatever the structure or the infrastructure you like to build, you need to take the backup or save the configuration of this desired state configuration. Maybe you have created 3-tier web server, maybe SQL server, whatever, like you have created. You have already made the connection. There's a load balancer is here. There's a DNS configuration. I mean, all those stuff you have been already created and right here in front of you in your resource group. The next option would be for you, simply go to export template, which is pretty simple and straight. And like I said, it's a part of the automation. And like I mentioned, all of these, I mean, not just one, I'm talking about all of these resources like virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3, all of these related settings or the commands, or I can say whatever the file information required, it's right here in front of you, right here. I don't want you to be jump in and try to understand, but yes, if you are a programmer folks, I'm sure you are very much interested to review all of these configuration and the settings. But Microsoft Azure does this thing for us free of cost, and it's really brilliant, because person like me, a dumb person who don't know anything about the software, though I know a little bit, but yeah, I mean, just want to say I'm really stupid in to understand these all. But again, I don't need to care about whether where is exclamatory mark, where is comma. It's been already done and created for us. And now here is the whole template. One option is simply go to download. Obviously, you can download this on your machine if you want to, which is export is been done. Other way, which I really want to tell you, is Azure, add to library, which is a very brilliant option. But at the moment, I'd like to tell you with the visual template how it actually helps you. Though it is nothing related to the baseline, but just want to tell you, this is your structure, how it has been built. If you really would like to take a picture, or maybe you like to visualize that, okay, I have 5,000 VMs and all of these network interface cards, network load balancers, my virtual machines, my virtual machine scale sets been created, all the firewall, everything is right under this place, and you can just see like how it is interconnected. It is really going to helpful, and this is a new feature from Microsoft Azure. That is the reason I'd like to show you. Anyway, let's go back to the same parameter. Again, the thing is, guys, the template you can also add to library, which is a pretty simple and straight. So click on library, and here you can provide the name. So name would be like HarshArena test template. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, obviously you need to select your right subscription resource group where you would like to, or I would say better create a new one. So I give HA-1. Yeah, looks good. Click OK. If you like to save, it's my 3. No, thanks. I'm fine. 3 tier configuration, or whatever the name you like to give. The version, obviously this is gonna be my version 1, and no change note at the moment, everything is fine. So if you like to edit your template, because like I said, if you like to validate, or you like to see that, okay, maybe any of the string, any of the parameter like resource IDs and all those things you like to change, you can do that. If you don't want to do, because at the moment I like to save in this way, so click review and create to see if the validation has been passed. And if it's been done, then let's click on create. That's it. So automatically this ARM template is gonna save to your library. I will show you where this library is, but at the moment there are 2 ways. Either you can download this file, the template file, or you can also save the same file to Microsoft Azure library. And it's been successfully saved and job done. Now, apart from that, I like to also mention, and here you can see that all of these parameters being saved based on like a network security group, interface card, disk, virtual machine. All of these settings is right here. If you like to make some changes, go ahead and do it. Parameters is here, the script, the PowerShell, like I said, the programmer folks, but it's a tedious process basically, guys. I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and create your PowerShell script if you really want to, and for that you need to start from this one. But again, I always suggest this for the the programmer folks, so you don't need to much worry at the moment. However, let's say if anything goes wrong at the moment, right now, and if you go back to the template and you can see there's one option called deploy, right? Imagine you simply created this 3-tier configuration and everything is running fine, and suddenly one of the resource got deleted or something went wrong and all those things. You can also simply click on deploy. It will perform a redeployment of your all the resources. And like I mentioned, you always have to worry about your resource ID. You have to always worry about your DNS names and all that, because if it has any conflict, it won't allow you to create. But at the moment, we just need to see whether the validation passed or not. If the validation passed, we are good to go and move forward. Otherwise, it will show you some error that this is your, like you see, you'll need to agree. All right, where I forgot, I don't know, I agree or not. Okay, let me agree then. Where is the agree button? Come on, man. I do not find. Let me check review and create, but I think it's keep asking for review agree. Guys, do you find anywhere agree option? I do not see anywhere. Oh yeah, you will need, so I just need to hit create. Anyway, I just don't want to get you bored, because what it does right after this step, it will start redeploying all of these resources for you. So this is the one option I like to tell you, that you can perform redeployment based on your ARM template. Now the question is, right now it's been done, that's fine. Where is my ARM template, especially in Microsoft Azure? So guys, you need to find out with the name of templates, like here. So click on templates and you can see, all right, wow, we do not have anyone is not available. Yeah, that's okay. I like to see if you have any template service. No, I don't want to see this option. All right, so I finally find right now Microsoft Azure saved all of these template files into template specification, or template spec, which is template spec. Like I said, because templates is a JSON file, obviously if you like you can save it, especially for the programmer folks, but here is the template specs, and as soon as you click on this, this was your template which was saved, and it is currently in HA1. So what you need to do all the time whenever you make some changes into that one, especially your resource group, then you need to keep creating those ARM template and keep adding into library so it can be saved here. And whenever you want, Simply click on this one, and obviously you need to perform the next section. Just wait, and here you can say simply click on deploy. That's it. That's all you need to do. As soon as you click on deploy, it will just start reviewing all of your settings, and if everything goes well, just just wait for the validation pass. And once the validation has been passed, just go ahead and create your resources, and everything is going to be back to the normal stage. That's how you're going to use the ARM template in this one. Why I'm not performing this? Because it may take 45 minutes or sometime 30 minutes, and I don't want to waste your time and my time as well. But you can certainly perform this action within your test environment, and please do this practice. It's really going to helpful, and you will learn something better. And apart from this, I like to discuss one more option in your resource group, which we call deployments. If let's say, let's talk about virtual machine 3. All right, I simply delete all of these options right now. Where's that option called delete? There you go. And yeah, apply force delete. Yeah, I don't care. Click yes, and yes, I like to delete this one. Now you can see here I have deleted right under this place this VM. Yeah, definitely it may take some time, because if any of the resources are currently in use, then you need to wait for some time. And why I perform this action in Azure Baseline? Because guys, we also have the deployment option, and you can see after like performing this execution for deletion, that's fine. Definitely we need to wait. But here's one option called deployment, because whenever you create a new resource, especially like your virtual machine and all that, so what it does for us, it actually create those deployments under this resource group. This is another option you really like to try out and be very much aware. I give you one example. If I go back to the deployments, here you can see the succeeded deployments are right available here. Obviously you need to review the time and very much aware when you have created. So I have deleted virtual machine 3 or HarshVM 3. So I just try with this one, because this is the time, because I'm very much aware I have performed this deployment during that time. So let's confirm about the deployment. Yes, this is for the HarshVM 3. Now my point is, once this VM has been deleted, or you can see the execution has been done successfully. Let me just verify whether we have the VM available or not. Yeah, VM3 has been gone now. So if I go back to the deployment, and if I select the correct deployment, which has been succeeded previously, I just need to click on redeploy. I don't need to do anything. Just click on redeploy, and settings are here. That's fine. Click review and create. Let's wait for validation failed. What is the problem? Now this is something, guys, you need to find out, that if the validation failed, so what is the reason? You need to review that, and once the validation will be passed, then you need to go ahead and perform, or just go ahead with the redeployment. The things is gonna be back to normal, and your VMs is gonna recover. Allow me one time, let me review, because it may take some time in the script where is the issue, and based on that particular file, resource or something, then yeah, okay, admin password, let me give you the password. Yeah, that's how you can find out. It gives you the problem. And if you find the problem, and if your validation has been passed, you simply click on create, and that's all. As you can see, the validation has been passed now. Just hit create, and that's it. Why I'm telling you this? Because you don't need to reconfigure everything from scratch. You have already done that. The deployment has been done. You don't need to give the names or select this and that option and it's been created. It's just gonna be done automatically if you simply go back to resource group, go to deployment and hit redeploy. The VM is gonna be ready once again right after this deployment is gonna be succeeded. Isn't it really good? I personally like it, especially when I'm managing my resources. Similarly, you can perform the action using your ARM template as well. Like I said, you need to verify your validation. If your validation has been passed, if it has not been passed, don't worry. It will give you the details that which particular parameter is conflicting with others. You need to simply go there, either delete or either give the new name to that particular parameters or resource ID or whatever the DNS name you have, and then your resources is going to be ready. And obviously right after that your deployment is ready to use, and you are getting back all of your resources just using these both option. One, deployment, and second is ARM template. ARM template, I like to remind you once again, is for the larger piece of cake. For example, if you have 100 VMs, you have 200 VMs, then please go ahead and do that step. It's going to be really helpful to you, especially in terms of recovering something from the worst condition. And I'm not considering this as a part of a backup solution. No, it is just for your safety pin, that if you really hit this trouble, how you're going to recover from that situation. That's all. So as you can see, our deployment is done. Just like to verify, then we can go ahead to the next topic. And I'm going back to HA, and here we can find our VM3 is back again to the normal stage, and you are ready to use whenever you want. So guys, these are the three important things I like to mention. You need to very well aware about the baseline or desired state configuration, how the organizations are following this standard. Now let's move to the automation. We'll discuss a little bit more on the automation part, and then we can move ahead with the alert system in Microsoft Azure. Let's move to the next topic in Azure Resource Baseline is Azure Automation. One thing we have already discussed, that is just the ARM template, that how it actually helped us to automate everything and save all those parameters, all those things into the PowerShell, or you can say CLI state, to save at one particular place. So whenever you want to get back the same desired state configuration, simply use that ARM template and go ahead and do the job for you. Now here guys, there are a couple of more operations, or you can say more tools or services available for that particular virtual machine or services in Microsoft Azure that really helped us to perform three very important actions. Number one is called process management. To give you one quick example and to make you better understand, so that I can show you where you can find, though we are not going to cover today in very much more in detail. The reason why is because Microsoft has recently launched some of the services in the preview model, but it will give you, it will means expand your mind, or elaborate your mind to understand why you need to use process management, configuration management, and update management. To give you a very classic example of the process management is automation. You guys will definitely think that's exactly we are talking about, the automation. The thing is, guys, to achieve the process management, it's one of the easiest example is scripts. So you can simply create those scripts and run it. That's simple, fine, clear. Similarly, we also have called policies, which means these policies has number of instructions, and based on those instructions, it's been start monitoring based, or obviously monitoring in the sense to achieve compliant and non-compliant conditions. Now this policy has a step-by-step instructions, like for example, if this VM has not enabled remote access desktop service, make it non-compliant. I am giving you one stupid example, but this example really helps you a lot. Let's say if this VM is not a part of the backup solution, marked as a non-compliant. Now these are the instructions you have given into the Azure policy, and if someone or in the sense if someone has created a new virtual machine and not able to reach to these desired state configuration, which of course followed by the Azure policies is a part of the classic example or a part of the process management, because in this one, they actually follow the processes and then analyze whether this VM is compliant or not. I think it really helps you to clear the question. And that's exactly, guys, the process management really help all the organization to achieve the right compliance, the right, the actual state of the VM. Not only that, if I add you a little bit more to make you understand about more on the Azure Automation, though one thing I like to tell you, I'm going to just show you, I'm not going to spend much more time in the automation in this video, but yes, in upcoming days, I will also explain about the runbook. What is runbook? But I will give you a better example so that all of you will be very much confident enough to understand what we are talking about here about the automation account. So guys, whenever we talk about automation, it means something is there which helps us to perform something or anything automatically. We don't need to simply go back again and again and perform the same action, right? So similarly, I give you one classic example. Right now in the virtual machine, we already have auto shutdown. I'm going to write down auto shutdown. This feature is already there for individual all the virtual machines. Now, this has been also enabled by default at 7 p.m. That's the most of the time. Of course, you can change this and you can enable, disable, it's up to you. But now let's say I want to create a process management or automation runbook, which of course you can create after creation of automation account. That's the meaning of AA. After you create an automation account, you need to create the runbooks. Runbooks again are the instructions given inside those run book or it's a kind of a way or a style or a parameters or code, whatever you can think of. So these run books have instructions, and I give the instructions that VM1 should shut down at 7 p.m. VM2 should shut down at 6 p.m. or something like that. I mean, you are just giving instructions and you enable that automation runbook on the subscription. So automatically all the VMs will be applicable based on this runbook, and based on the instructions I have given here, it will applicable to each and every individual VMs. Now here, I'm not going to touch any of the VM individually. It's simply automatically roll out those instructions and find out which VM actually we given instructions, and automatically based on the information we have given, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., these VMs gonna be shut down because we are following a process to achieve this goal. That is called process management. Now, another advantage, it is only and only used for the scaled environment. Means scaled means you have a massive structure or infrastructure, and there you like to manage all of them. Then automation account and the runbook is a perfect solution for you. Now let's move to the next one, is called configuration management. Now, why it is important in Azure Automation? Because guys, everybody is like desired state configuration, because I'm keep repeating this word, and I don't want you to feel bored or something, because I really want you to take this word seriously, because nowadays even Microsoft Azure, I can say 2 months back, they have recently released one of the preview feature where they are allowing us to manage our desired state configuration. Because here, let's say, what's the meaning of configuration management? I'll give you one classic example. I want to enable the backup as soon as the VM is created. I give you one example, right? This is one classic example. Now, second, I like to install remote access, or even in fact terminal services feature, remote desktop services feature. Now, how I'm going to achieve that? I'm going to configure these settings, and then as soon as people start creating virtual machine, these two services will be automatically enabled in those VM. That's exactly called desired state configuration, and the configuration management. You really want to achieve the compliance. You really want to achieve the way you want. I mean, if this VM is the production one, this is the setting you like to achieve. If this VM is in the test environment, you like to achieve this setting. And if the VMs are in the dev or development environment, then you want to achieve such specific settings. So how you're going to do that with the help of configuration management. I hope it make some sense and helps you to clear your mind about this thing. And the last thing about the update management, which is pretty simple to understand, like how your VMs is gonna update, or I'm talking about the Windows update here. So this update management is all about on the scale level. Obviously these threes are for the scale level. That's how automation is required, because you can't do for one specific VM. You have to create one automated process to do all these things for you. Otherwise, you need to arrange so many people to manage all of these VMs. So that is the main reason that Microsoft Azure giving you these opportunities and these features to achieve big and in a easiest way to get the right solution for your enterprise and for your organization. Rather than to just explain, let me show you some of the preview feature right now Microsoft has introduced in Azure. We are in Azure portal, and now let's go to any of the virtual machine you like to go, because like I said, the very first step to achieve this runbook stuff is to create the automation account, which I have not been created yet, and I'm not going to do it in this video, but in upcoming video definitely you will see how we are going to manage our runbooks, and where you can see how you can integrate runbook with other services as well. I will explain all those things to you, but at the moment just focus on how you're going to start managing few things within your virtual machines. So guys, for that simply go to your virtual machine, and here is one of the option available under operations called auto shutdown. That's the very best example of Azure Automation, because it helps us to perform one of the action automatically at the time we have mentioned. Because as you can see, the UTC time 7 p.m. I mention it for the auto shutdown if I'm not using my VM. Yes, you can disable this. If it is a production environment, definitely you like to disable, right? Now, apart from that, Microsoft has released two important new services inside this virtual machine. One is called change tracking. Not this one, guys. Auto manage, this one, preview. And with the caption, or with the information, you can easily read that if you really like to follow the best practices from Microsoft, where as soon as you start onboarding, you create your virtual machine, then configuration, monitoring, whatever the features you like to enable it based on the type of the VM. For example, your VM is your production one, your dev one, or your profile you can create for the test. If you like to do that, then automatically this VM will start installing or enabling those features for you automatically. You don't need to do anything on that. So this is a brilliant come up with the Microsoft Azure. And Microsoft Azure, here's my hand. I know nobody can see, but hail my hand to you. And this is really a welcome feature. And thank you so much you have introduced this one here, because it really helps a lot of people, especially who are managing long scripts to achieve such profiles. So thank you once again. But anyway, let's move to the next part. This is just to give you a brief idea that what is all about Azure Automation. The next is the configuration management. This is something also new in Microsoft Azure, which was not there before. If you check our previous videos 4 months back, both of these feature was not there. Anyway, so with the name, like I keep you bored all the time, desired state configuration management. Now it is also been enabled in the virtual machine. What it allows you, it gives you the right compliance, the consistent control, the way you want, basically the way you want to achieve your virtual machine. You can follow that. And you can also collect logs that you can review later based on your requirement. But again, it does require a separate kind of configuration, though I'm not going to explain in this one how this is going to work for you. But yes, here's the option. You must aware that this is the new one and it's right here. Now, one last one for the process management. I already mentioned about the Azure policies, and the policies is already been inbuilt because one of the by default policy I have already enabled, and you can see here there are two resources is been compliant, but there's one which is non-compliant. Though, yeah, of course, I need to review and I need to follow the rules or follow the instructions. And once I'm able to achieve that instruction, then the policy said you are absolutely safe. All the conditions are being met, and that's exactly the organizations are pushing to their devices. If you remember, once they give you the laptop, they said, hey, don't download any games, don't play with any of the shopping website. These kind of instructions sometimes given, right? So why? Because the policies has been implemented on those laptops, and definitely you don't want to mess around with the company compliance. So these are the options really helps and change nowadays, because people are managing lots of resources in Microsoft Azure, and they all need automated process in Microsoft Azure. We will cover for sure these topics as well in upcoming videos, but at the moment, this is right here for you. Let's jump to the next topic is Azure Alerts and Resource Monitoring. Both are really, really wonderful topics, and I'm going to really enjoying this while explaining to you. So let's jump in back to the presentation, understand them, and let's do the practical. Now we have remaining two topics. One is Azure Alerts and second is Resource Metrics. Both are very important, yet very used options available in Microsoft Azure, because whenever you start administering your Microsoft Azure, then you must be aware how you get notified if anything goes wrong, and something goes wrong, how you're going to identify the time span or what was the reason. Actually, the resource metrics is going to help you during the troubleshooting. But don't worry, we will cover these both of the topic individually and try to give you even better understanding how these both topics can work together in terms of managing your Microsoft Azure resources. So let's start with the very first one, Azure Alerts. I'd like to remind you, I'd like to tell you that we have already covered Azure Alerts in AZ-900 videos, but obviously we are doing AZ-104. So definitely I'm going to separately going to make this topic available in AZ-104 certification as well, because if somebody is just watching AZ-104, so they must be aware. And guys, don't get bored that I'm just explaining the same thing again and again, especially who's watching AZ-900 and AZ-104, both of these things. But anyway, I'm trying to use a different way this time, because in my previous video in AZ-900, when we configured Azure Alerts, I remember correctly, I used Logic Apps, and I connect my Logic Apps with my Twitter handle. So as soon as something goes wrong to my virtual machine or maybe my operating system, automatically one notification has been generated on my Twitter handle, and I got notified that, hey, your VM has been rebooted or shut down or something goes wrong based on the alert system, or you can say the signal, the condition I have applied in alerts. Now, to make you better understand that how your Azure Alerts are working, let me explain first what this is and why we need to use this in our today's scenario. And yeah, one last thing, I'm going to use today an email ID instead of using any Logic Apps, Automation, Runbook, or any other options available, including SMS and text messages. But indeed, this is going to be very straightforward and easiest way to set up your Azure Alerts. And I can tell you that in your organization, each and every administrator, especially the person who is managing all of your resources, must have configured Azure Alerts for all of the resources running in your subscription. Now, with the name set, Azure Alerts, definitely it give you an ability to receive the notification if anything goes wrong, and how it is going to be identified by Microsoft Azure. Actually, there are some activities, and these activities has been recorded in Microsoft Azure, and we call that service called Azure Monitor. So as soon as Azure Monitor receive those services and we have set up a condition or a kind of a, we call it a signal that, okay, let's say if the VM has been rebooted or shut down or anything else, I mean, related to that particular VM happened during that particular time, especially when you are not in the office, or in fact you are in the office, doesn't matter, maybe somebody else was managing your resources, you will get notified if the condition, if the criteria has been matched in the Azure Alerts. I want to summarize everything about Azure Alerts in one single line. You will get notified based on different options like SMS, like emails, like automation, whatever the way you like to choose. You will get notified based on the condition or criteria you have set during the time of setting up your Azure Alerts. That's all. That's it. That's all you need to remember. Yeah. Apart from that, there are a couple of extra things I like to mention in this video, so you will be, very much knowledgeable enough to clear your examination, because when you sit in the examination, these terminologies will come back again and you'll say, Harsh, we have not gone through those terminologies in Azure Alerts and we don't understand the question either. So don't worry, let me just explain. Start with very first thing. Whenever you're setting up an Azure Alerts in Microsoft Azure, the very first thing during the time of deployment of Azure Alerts, you need to set your target, means where you want to apply this particular Azure Alerts, whether it is based on a subscription level, whether it is on the Azure Virtual Machine or web application or a firewall. I mean, you can set up or Azure Active Directory, you can set up anywhere you want about these Azure Alerts. And the good thing about now in Microsoft Azure is you don't need to go to each and every individual resources being created. You can simply go to Azure Monitor service and you can find Azure Alert, and simply from that particular place, you can go ahead and setting up your Azure Alerts in a very easy way. So the very first thing, you're going to start with the target resource, and you can do all these steps under one service, that is Azure Monitor. Now, after you choose your target resource that you want to monitor or consider that you want to enable for alerts, the next thing is you need to setting up your alert signal. Now, these signals are based on metrics, like maybe if the CPU reached 90%, you want to get notified. So these kind of things you can setting up in Azure Alerts, or in other way, if any activity has been reported into Azure Monitor or in the logs, then you will get notified. These activities could be anything. I mean, your VM is get deallocated, your VM has been rebooted, your VM has been shut down. You can choose lots of options, not just regarding virtual machine. You can find even much more options in terms of logs or activity logs. Don't worry, when we do the practical, you will see all these options available right in front of you. Now, after you setting up the signal that, okay, you want to you use these options to get notified, the next thing is the criteria. Now here you can consider is the combination of your signal and your logic that you applied on the target resource. Now, the classic example about this criteria is, for example, if my VM is get deallocated and I want to get notified immediately based on that particular activity. So that's kind of combination you're going to create in the criteria, and we are going to choose a criteria obviously right after that. And once it has been done, the last step is severity, the action. What kind of action you want to get on that? You want to get alert, and you want to get alert via an email, via an SMS, text messages, logic apps, or means other options available. Also, you can setting up your SCOM services as well, but that may take a little bit extra step, but indeed you can do that. So this is the whole thing about Microsoft Azure Alerts while setting up. And if you want to know a little bit more, here I have write down about the Azure Alerts severity. Now, obviously, severity 0 is the most critical, because if your production servers is down, that's the critical activity you can consider. I really don't want that these kind of severity has been generated in your scenario, but yeah, just for your knowledge, it starts from severity 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So 0 is the critical one, and the 4 is kind of a verbose. I mean, anything based on the criteria we have set, we want to receive those notification. That's how you can set, or not even set, you will get notified in Azure Monitor under Azure Alerts. So once the severity has been generated, this is a kind of information you can receive in Azure Monitor, that how many alerts has been generated yet, and the preview, I mean total alerts rules, how many it has been hit during the time of deployment or after the deployment. So I mean, you can get all the information right under one place, again in under one roof, and that's the whole purpose of Azure Alerts. So let's finish this theoretical concept simply because Azure Alerts pretty simple and straight to understand. You want to get notified if anything goes wrong in your Azure infrastructure. That's all. So now we have finished the theoretical concept. Let's move to the practical thing, and let's setting up Azure Alerts so that it will be easy for you to understand how you're going to actually start managing your Azure Alerts in Azure Monitor. So let's do it. To configure Azure Alerts, it's a very simple and straightforward process. I will tell you that how you're going to start managing all of your resources from one single place, and that is Azure Monitor. So start with that. Let's go to the search bar and find out Azure Monitor. So as soon as you find out Monitor with the name of Monitor only, you don't need to go any other option. So click on Monitor. And here on the left hand side, which is a very easiest way to start looking into alerts, or you can also go to the alerts right here under this place. Either you can simply go to alerts on the left hand side, the third option. So as you can see right now, there is no alert configured. There is no, you can say, a kind of alerts has been generated in past 24 hours because I have not configured any one of them. So to start configuring Azure Alerts, that can help you to start managing your resources, and if anything goes wrong, you must get notified from Microsoft Azure. So what you need to do for that, step number 1, you have to create an action group. That's the very first step. And why action group first? Obviously, you can do during the time of setting up Azure alert rule. That's absolutely fine. But I always do action group separately. The reason why is because it gives me a power to save my action group, that what kind of action I need. I can create 2 or 3 different actions, and based on my requirement, I can choose those actions. Now, what's the meaning of actions? Because guys, here in action group, you can choose that how you want to get notified. Don't worry, I will show you. So I highly recommend you, all of you, to please go to action groups. And here you're going to start with the create a new action group. So create, and the step number 1, obviously, choose the right subscription. After that, choose the right resource group. And here I'm going to choose my default one, HA, and obviously give the name of the action group. And I give the name Batman action group. I think because I like Batman, although I'm HarshArena, but anyway, let's give respect to Batman. He's my favorite character out of all, even in fact from the Marvels. I really like Batman. I do have one action figure, but sorry, I can't show you at the moment. Certainly one day I will show you my action figures as well. All right, so I give the name, action group name is this one, and obviously you can give other name which definitely required 12 characters maximum. So I give Batman HA is the display name. HarshArena, I like to add that one. All right, so after you giving this simple name of the instances in action group, just go to the notification. Now here's the place how you want to get notified. So like I said, today we are going to follow a very simple rule via an email, so that it will be possible for all of you, and don't need to choose the same email ID. You can choose any email ID you want in the world. So just click on notification type and go to the second option, email at this moment. So once you choose email, obviously here you don't need to give any name. On the right hand side you can see email, SMS message, push, voice, the options been enabled. Now I like to get notified via an email, so I give my email ID here. It's my email ID, harshitprofessional@hotmail.com. So if this is the correct one, then that's good. And about like this SMS and all other options you can configure, but it does require extra steps to be managed. So here what I need to do, I just click OK after you give the email. Enable the common alert schema. Yeah, that's okay. If you really want to do that, it's up to you, but I'm fine with that. So I click OK. My email ID, name is required. All right, okay. HA Alerts. I think this is the good one, and email has been already configured. Let me review and check again. harshitprofessional@hotmail.com. Yeah, that's okay. Done. Once this is done, let's go to the next option, that is actions. And like I mentioned, it is an optional thing for you at the moment, but again, this action type is really an interesting one, because here you can enable your automation and get notified in your Twitter handle, on your Facebook, Outlook, or any other web application you have configured, maybe on SharePoint and sort of kind of thing. You can do all that stuff here. But at the moment, I will leave this option. But indeed, if you want, you can go ahead and configure any one of the option here, which will help you. But at the moment, it's all good. Tags, I don't need. Review and create, yes, that's what I want. So that's okay. And I think let's go and create the action group, because it's a very simple one. I have just create the action group. And once this been created, we will go back to alert rule, and yeah, the action group has been created. Let's refresh. Oh, not visible. Come on. Refresh again. All right. It might take a few minutes for changes to appear on the screen. Makes sense. That's fine. All right. Then let's go back to the monitor again, and let's start creating a new alert rule. So click create, and this time select alert rule. So what would be my alert rule? But before that, you need to start with the scope, which is called a target resource. Now here, one option is you can enable this one to the whole subscription. If you don't want to choose on the whole subscription, you can also filter what kind of resource you like to enable. Let's say I like to choose virtual machines. So I can choose virtual machines here. You can select on which virtual machine you like to enable this rule. So guys, this is purely up to you. That's how you want to manage, and that's how you can enable all the services. But anyway, at the moment, I will select the whole subscription. But if you like to choose any specific virtual machine or any other resource, go ahead and do it. So once the target resource has been done, the next step is the condition. So obviously, the condition would be here. And like I said, there are tons of conditions available. You need to choose the right one. So I will choose, let's say, obviously signal type all I'm going to choose at the moment. So I will type deallocate. So it means that if my virtual machine is in deallocated state, which possibly be after the shutdown of that particular VM, I want to get notified. And obviously, where is this resource? I mean, from where this data is going to be read. So guys, on this signal type is going to be activity log. Now this is very important for you. So before you choose, you need to be aware that from where you will get this notification. I mean, where is actually the data source that will help you to get notified. So here I'm going to choose deallocate virtual machine, which is going to help me in terms of applying the condition. Now, it will now reviewing that over the last 6 hours, whether any of the status of the deallocation been applied or not. And here, event level, you can select which one. I mean, you want a critical one, you want all. So at the moment, like I can choose critical one. Let's say if I can, no data available. If I choose any one of them, I don't think so because I have not been configured this one and I have not been deallocated my VMs. So should be good. So make sure you have selected all because you want to get notified in any condition if your VM is in deallocate state. Status. Yes, again, I want to choose all of them, whether it's a failed or started or succeeded. I want to get notified because it is so critical to me. Event initiated by, yes. One thing you can do here, either you can enable with the email ID of one particular person, that if this person enable or trigger this particular specific, VM shutdown or deallocation, I should get notified. Or you can choose anyone should follow this step, and if the VM is in deallocation state, I should get notified. So that's the option right here. But at the moment, all services and users would be the right option for me. Action. Obviously, one option is you can configure your action group, or you can simply select your action group, and we have already created with the name of Batman action group. So I'm going to choose this one, select Batman action group, and here is one of the email ID configured. So anytime if I need any information, we can get easily notified. So now let's go to the details, and here guys, I have resource group. Obviously, which one you like to choose. So I will choose HA. Here I want to create my alert rule. And what would be the name of this one? So Batman watch is my alert rule. Subscription, sorry, not subscription, description. It's quite late. So again, anyway, so rule description, I don't want to mention that. I'm not interested in tags or review and create. So sorry, I am interested in review and create. So let's go to review and create. And if there's no issue, let's hit create. So I have created alert rule, and let's wait for this one to be created. I think it's been created. That's good. I can verify from here, or maybe it takes some time to be created. I don't know. Yeah, might be. It takes some time. Let's go back to monitor and see if action group has been visible. Yeah, action group is here. So I'm sure it may take some time, but it will be, we will get notified. All right. So what we can do now, and I like to also remind you to enable this alert rule. And let's say if you get, deallocated your VM or shut down your VM, do not expect immediately you will get notified. It may take some minutes. I think not more than 15 minutes as per my experience, but less than that, you will certainly get notified. So if I go back to home, and if I go to my Harsh VM1, which is certainly is in running position, yes, it's in running position. What I'm going to do, I'm going to deallocate this one. And how I'm going to do it? Why stop? So I click stop. Yeah, I want to retain. Do you want to stop? Yes, I want to stop my virtual machine. So stopping my virtual machine, which means this VM is gonna go into the deallocation state. So let's wait for this, and it may take some time to stop this one. And let's do one thing. Let's try one more VM just for testing purposes. So yeah, it's been already deallocated state. So that's good. Let me just start this one anyway. And we are going to stop again. And let me check with my third virtual machine, which is VM3, whether it's in running condition or deallocation. Yeah, it's in running one. So I'm going to stop this VM again. So I have stopped two VMs, and let's see whether I should get notified or not. So any one of the VM, start the virtual machine. It's been done. So both of VMs successfully stopped. That's good. Now what we have to do, we have to wait for some time and see if the email has been generated or not. So here I'm going to pause the video for a couple of minutes, and I will tell you that after how much time I get notification in my email ID. So let me open my email ID for you, because I'm sure at the moment we won't find any information. So let's try here, Outlook or hotmail.com, and there you go. Okay, so I think I have something. You are now in, okay, I mean this email ID has been added to the Azure Monitor obviously to the action group, which is fine. That's a good sign. At least we get notified from Microsoft Azure end. Now, obviously, just wait for some time, because I'm sure after some time you will see, oh, it's an advertisement. Come on. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, I just simply delete that. So very soon, I'm sure we are going to receive an email that your VM has been deallocated state, and with the description, with the information. So let's wait for some time. All right, I think I don't need to wait, or in fact it's been quick at the moment. So you can see, guys, the Batman watch was activated for Harsh VM1, and here is the detail, because the deallocation state has been enabled, and this is the severity level is informational. That's fine. And who actually enable or who actually shut down or deallocate this VM, this is the email ID, or obviously me, this is the moment, and this is the property where you can find a resource ID and all this information. If you are not satisfied with the information, you can also go to the Azure portal and get confirmation about the same. Similarly, guys, I think, oh, this is the VM1. Okay, I got another one, VM1. That's fine. Oh, it's an administrative category. That's okay. Oh, VM3 as well. So we also get notified for the VM3. So guys, this is how you get notified with the alerts if anything goes wrong, and I consider that deallocation is actually wrong to me. And I'm sorry, I was not able to pause because immediately Microsoft Azure is too quick. High five to you, Microsoft. I know nobody's able to see me, but yeah, again, I'm so happy that I don't need to wait to show you this specific result. And I'm so happy that the result is just in front of us. So guys, that's how your Azure Alerts has been configured. Now let's move to the resource matrix and see how it is going to help us to start managing our resources. I'm sure you all will be very happy that finally we are on the last topic, isn't it? And the reason being, because guys, I know this video is actually very big, and the reason why I created these all topics in one video, because we are going to start a very new topic, and I don't want to keep repeating in the new or other video, though I can split this video, but again, I don't want to do that. So anyway, let's finish our last topic, and it is gonna really helpful to you in terms of troubleshooting. So guys, the last topic we have is Azure Resource Matrix. Though it's very simple to understand, the resource matrix is all about how you are actually monitoring all of your resources. Now, what kind of resources I'm talking about here? It's all about CPU, it's about RAM, or even more conditional metrics here. For example, in the CPU, I want to see what time it was when the spike was there in the CPU for 90%. You can set up, you can monitor all those things in resource matrix. There are two options. One, you can save all those logs to one place in the log analytics, and later you can watch and review them anytime you want. Or the good thing about Microsoft Azure is whenever the resource matrix data has been generated, is gonna save in Microsoft Azure for 93 days by default. So it means that if you really want to see what happened at a particular time span in last 3 months, or particular time stamp, in fact, a particular exact hour, minutes, you can check with the help of Resource Monitor why it happened, or in fact, like I give you one example, why my CPU spiked up to 90% at that time. You can review your network bandwidth. There are tons of metrics available. You can go ahead, review them, explain to the management that what was the reason that this actually happened, why my server was down or not responding or anything like that. It's purely for the monitoring purpose, and in other sense, which I personally like to use all the time, is for troubleshooting. And here is a classic example I mentioned, that if you really want to see what was happening on the CPU or RAM, or I mean in other terms I call it memory or network bandwidth in and out, separately I can find out easily based on those filters available in Microsoft Azure. And I'm also so sure that many of you already been using this resource matrix in your Windows operating system. If you remember, whenever you open a task manager and you go to Resource Monitor, there it can show you network, there it can show you CPU, memory, disk, input, output, or IO. I mean, you can get all those details under one place, and also if you want to get more information, you can also go to the event viewer, and there you can connect with the resource monitor and even find out based on percentage that, okay, my CPU was 90%. What was the situation at that time towards my disks or towards my network bandwidth? You can compare all those information together and comes to any specific conclusion. Similarly, guys, you can also do this in Microsoft Azure. The only thing here is you are now managing this resource matrix under Azure Monitor as well as to the specific resources like virtual machine. And I would like to show you how you're going to start looking into those resource matrix and how it is going to help you to achieve more. So let's jump to the Azure portal and let's learn a little bit more. So in Azure portal, what you can do to start looking into the resource metrics, the very first option is you can either go to the specific resource and start looking your matrices. Let me show you, in fact, from the virtual machine 1 as an example at the moment, and I'm sure it's in the running condition. That's good. So what you can do if you like to see the metrics for this particular VM, simply go to the monitoring where the 6 alerts has been already there for you by default. So as soon as you click, obviously these are the alerts if you remember. But apart from that, what I want to show you is the key metrics where the CPU average, here you can see the spike up and down. In fact, you can check the network, what is the bandwidth up and down. Also the disk bytes. I mean, you can see these all options available right in front of you. If you want to see from last 1 hour, last 6 hours, 12 hours, last 30 days, all of that information you can see under this place. And here is the details for you, that how much data has been consumed. If you like to submit the information to your management, if somebody wants to see. But here you can see what's going on. But if you really want to find out during the time span or what exactly was going on during the time, and even more metrics, so what you can do is you can simply go back to home, find out monitor, which is right here, and in the monitor simply go to metrics. So as soon as you go to the metrics, we need to again select the target audience, means target scope or even target resource. So here in my subscription, because I choose all of my subscription at the moment, I like to go to HA because my virtual machine is right under this place. Or if you don't want to follow each and everything, simply go to the resource type, select virtual machines, which is again easier for you. Like for example, virtual machine. Let me see if I can find out. Oh, with the name, I think you can find out, but simply, I think, let me check. Wow, there are lots of one. But anyway, what would be the easiest way for me is like here and select virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3. I like to see all of these 3 machines or resource to see what's going on. So click apply. And now, obviously, the next step is you need to select your metric. And here you can check how many metrics are available for you to review. There are lots of different things available here. You just need to see which one you are interested in. Now, for example, outbound flows. I really want to see what's going on that one. So error, retrieving data, maybe something goes wrong. Anyway, let me check with the OS disk write bytes. I hope I can find something. Yep, at least something is here. And the good thing about this monitor metrics right here, that even if you have 10 VMs, you can compare all of them together in one single screen. Now, as you can see here, if I select, not even select, I just hover my mouse to Harsh VM2, it will only show about the Harsh VM2. If I go to VM1, now this is for the VM1 and this is for the VM3. So similarly, you can just try to find out where is that CPU stuff. not this one. Let me see if I can find out. So at least I can, oh, inbound flow. Let me check if I have something in inbound. Oh, nothing. Okay, cool. There's no problem. CPU credit. No, I'm not interested in CPU credit. Data disk. I do not have any data disk. I do have OS disk. So here, okay. Do we have any burst bandwidth available? Yeah, that's fine. 170M, 170M. So we have more than enough. So right now I'm not consuming that much. So I think you get my point here in terms of managing percentage of CPU, how much it is consumed. So here you can find out all of them, that how much percentage currently is consuming in all of them, and based on those points you can also identify what's going on. I mean, what was there, the time span. You can also get the details about this, what is going on, line chart, drill into, I mean, new alert rule. You can create the alert rule based on this one. You can add more filters if you want to. I mean, you can play around with all these options right under one place. And I'm sure you are very much happy to see this. And also I'd like to show you one more thing, because this is something not new to you. If I like to show you HarshVM1, let me copy my public IP address and go to my remote desktop, add PC, IP address, add, let me connect. There you go. No need @ my password, continue. Yep, that's fine. Because guys, you were managing same thing earlier in your life as well. Nothing fancy, nothing special. It's just like you are handling all of these metrics in Microsoft Azure. That's all. So here's my server. This is my HarshVM1, just for your reference. And if I close this one and I'm not interested, and simply I go to the task manager here. In the task manager, if you remember, we have this option called performance, right? And here we have metrics, and just right under this place we also have Resource Monitor. This is a kind of monitoring tool, but I'm sure you're very well aware. And here you can find out what's going on based on the different services, disk, memory, network, CPU. You can find all of these details right under this. So similarly guys, you can also do in your in Microsoft Azure as well. Like, almost forgot, because it's again 2 p.m. another day. So but anyway, this is what I want to just show you about the resource metrics. You need to play, that's for sure, because nothing fancy I can show you at the moment, because it's just about the troubleshooting, and at the moment we are not facing any problem. So guys, you must try this option, and you must play around with all the settings and everything, so that it can help you to understand better. Now let's even go back to our portal, and that's how you can also start managing all of your stuff under this place, under monitoring, and you can review them, and based on your analysis you can submit the information to the people. And here I just click on those, any one of the metrics, and here you can get the details. I mean, you can take a picture, or even you can save this for your future reference if you really want to. So that to be all guys, and I hope I not even hope, I mean, you don't feel sleepy, I hope. But anyway, I really appreciate, and I really like that you keep your patience while waiting for these videos, and I'm keep coming up with videos every weekends, because I'm going to make those during the weekends only. During the daytimes I'm working, so I don't find time for that. But anyway, I really like to thank you, and I feel and hope that you find this video quite informational and helpful. All right, and definitely I will see you in the next video. And guys, don't forget to help me out for Canada and US job. I really want to settle down there. But anyway, I really thank you once again for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. And yeah, the good news is I'm also start working on the content for the security trainings as well. So very soon we are going to start either CISSP training or in fact Microsoft's cloud security training as well, so that it can give you even more confidence in terms of security domain. So finally, that will be all for the day. I wish and pray you are safe and taking care of your family and yourself. I wish you have a very good day. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.